Welcome to the beach.
Happy New Year's Eve. It's like so nice out. We've taken off layers.
It is raining though, technically. You can see the rain falling a little bit. So you can see everybody's in really good spirits because it's not raining, it's not freezing. We're out at the beach with a handful of volunteers. We've got Chris and Hizoji and Owen and Josie and Mike and Stina and myself, Rachel Easton. And we are at, I'll let you guess where we are. Hopefully by the background you should be able to know that we are at Narrows Beach Park, one of the PennMet Parks properties. And today we have special permission to be here after hours. Whoop whoop, thanks to PennMet Parks for this access so we can...
Our lovely parkkeeper Jason for letting us in. We appreciate that.
Love it. Okay, so what's our stage of beach monitoringness?
We're doing a presence absence survey, and I have an alarm going off for our zero tide height. So I got it. Go. Yeah, they're down here.
Just kidding. I'll be right back.
We're kind of like timing the different tidal heights. We do other surveys at the +5, +1, 0, and -1 tide heights.
Perfect.
So right now, we're doing kind of the broad
What's here?
survey, the presence absence, and I know Chris just found a sea slug.
Ooh!
Little barnacle eating nudibranch.
Oh, that's a good one. All right, let's see.
Barnacle eating dorid, I guess.
Yes.
There's a little bill.
Okay. You got to point to it because everyone else just sees a blob. Yeah, that is it. Oh, great find. So this is a dorid nudibranch, which is the kind of typical nudibranch shape. They're a slug with a crown of gills on their back and two little antenna rhinophores on the front. And this one is very well camouflaging really, really well. It eats the barnacles, lives among them. Such a great find. Sometimes we see these ones and they're kind of white all over. But nice. That's a good sign. If we see them now, we'll probably see more of them as we go.
Chris demonstrating the beach etiquette he learned as a wee little babe in our
If you can believe it,
program.
Chris was shorter than me when he joined this program.
I think that's so cute.
Fourth grade.
Yeah, fourth grade.
We
Oh
get
my
to
gosh.
this nice boulder. You ever notice there's hardware on the beach?
It's probably
don't
for a
take it out.
reason.
Scientists need it. But there's a nice little flatworm.
Ooh.
And then just the wall of anemones. Is really,
Yeah.
you're saying, we are family. And then really, like, I've got a clone and a clone and a clone and a clone and a clone.
A clone of me.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so funny.
So we're just already, and we've been, this is, I don't know, it feels, we're night number 2 in a row, but we're like punchy as if it's like
Night 6.
in a row. So,
I think it's New Year's
I
Eve.
think it's New Year's Eve. We're excited.
Nice.
Fireworks across the water.
Yeah.
It's been really
It's
pretty.
nice and still. You can see the lights
You
reflecting.
can see
It's
the
beautiful.
moon glow, the little
Oh yeah.
moon.
It's a beautiful night to be beach walking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep doing this survey until we hit the water and kind of we're waiting for the -1 tide to uncover. And then we'll do kind of some surveys along those tidal heights we mentioned earlier. And yeah,
Hopefully we'll stay dry.
hopefully we'll.
Woohoo! Thanks to everybody who's hanging out and watching with us. We
Totally.
love to have the company.
I was excited because if we go live for another 26 minutes, we get to say Happy New Year's to all my
Montana.
buddies. So,
Nice.
bring in 2021 Montana.
On the beach.
So yeah.
Nice.
Okay. We are. Does anybody see a...
So while they continue that, I'm gonna just fill you in a little bit more on these anemones here. These are aggregating anemones. And as Tina mentioned, they are most likely clones of one another.
So, yeah, I think we've got a ribbon orange.
Clones of a couple that may have settled here on this rock. And what's great is you can really tell where the tide height comes because that sort of delineates where they can survive. And so these patches of bare barnacles here is where barnacles can survive because they can close up during the low tide and trap their moisture. But the anemones have a little bit of a harder time. And they're not always on rocks. If we look on the ground, we'll see a few solitary anemones here. It's a pretty common thing to find. They're one of the, I would like a ribbon worm. Sooner. Sooner.
There it is.
Oh yeah. I was hoping for a bright orange one, but this one is really cool and will do.
Nemerdia?
Yeah, an Emerdia, good.
Hello.
No, you can't scoop it. He's in there good. Or she or it or I'm not sure.
They.
Remember, we'll just say they to be safe.
They are super stretchy.
Super stretchy, like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, and we've been looking for a mussel.
Oh,
yeah.
a tiny muscle.
All you need is a good
All you need is a good rock.
And then down under here, there's all these little shore crabs, little hemigrapsis. There's a kind of a larger one hanging out here, and these are primarily Hemigrapsis oregonensis I'm seeing. I'm gonna give them a little boop for good luck. But there are also purple short crabs here as well, so maybe we'll see one of those to point out the difference. I like to show off the really kind of pointed carapace on the back of these crabs, and it's almost like trapezoid shaped compared to our like edible crabs, the ones that are really oval. The what? Oh my goodness.
Little action.
Look at you. Oh, you're adorable. Why is everything small adorable? I don't know. It's human nature.
There's nothing we can do about it.
No, we're programmed. But this is a frilled dogwinkle shell, and that's made by the snail. And then once the snail is either killed or dies, this is a hairy hermit crab, will move into their shell. And I can tell it's a hairy hermit by looking at their last joint on their legs, and it's got a little band of white. And this is a hermit crab that prefers shells that are too small to withdraw into fully. So other hermit crabs will choose a really sturdy shell, one that can cover their entire body and be really safe. And it's usually these dogwinkle snail shells. But the hairy hermit is like, nope, let's be fast. Look at this tiny little pincher. You can see the left is much smaller than the right pincher. And that has to do with the direction of the torsion of the shell. They'll use that right hand, good catch. They'll use that right pincher to block the entry to the door to kind of protect themselves. Although this one mostly just scurries out from any danger that comes. But yeah, we're out at Nero's. And it is absolutely gorgeous night for doing science on the beach. It's still, there's not a lot of wave action happening here. We're right about at the 0 foot tide. So we're set to experience about a -2 foot tide today. So it's gonna go 2 vertical feet lower than it is right now. And we're doing a little presence absence study. I'm watching a cool hermit crab scurry around. He's gonna jump.
One thing that I think would be kind of cool to get on film is just the amount of sand. That
Oh, yeah.
Up on, like beaches all over the South Sound. Just like we get to them and we're like, where did all this sand come from? This beach is the same. Where our boulder,
cute little hermit crab.
Your marker
it's like
buried.
Oh, we're kind of lucky we were able to see that. 'Cause, there is so much sand.
All right, well, let me go check out the sand. I'll be back in a second. Oh, a secret mesh. Well, now I'm really intrigued. Okay, we gotta make our way up the beach. So thanks to everybody who's tuning in tonight. This is obviously our last beach monitoring of the year because the year ends. But we do this program in the summertime. So yeah, wow, there is a lot of sand up in here. Interesting. All right, now I've been told that there's a message. I see some rocks, shiny rocks catching in the light here. Some big driftwood pieces here. Wow. I don't know if you guys can tell how big this log is. There's my foot. So it's pretty big. Lots of erosion here too. There's a big kind of section of the bank that's given away. Apologize that you can't quite see it, but all right, where am I looking for the secret message? Oh, okay. Distracted by all the sand. There's so much. All right, secret message. Oh, here we go. I do not know if this is going to show up. but it says HWW, happy, and then happy waves, happy seas. No, I'm guessing it says happy New Year's Eve. Cute. Hard to read. Sorry, everyone. Let's go back to where we can focus on some sea creatures. I'll show you the pretty view, though. It's, like I said, a very, very beautiful night compared to last night. If you tuned in to last night's broadcast, you probably saw Sina drowning. We postponed the broadcast a bit, too, to try to wait for the rain squall to pass. And we've got another big bout of weather coming up throughout the weekend. So be prepared for lots more rain. What do we have?
Get my hopes up. I'll just go home.
As we get lower, closer to the water, you see the ground is much more wet than it was above. We'll start to see more algae. This is one of my favorite beaches for algae because it's got a lot of it. This is some really pretty rockweed. In the summertime, it'll develop its reproductive tips on the ends, which are big swollen sacs. They're kind of fun to pop, although I usually tell my kids you can only pop one because the algae needs it. It's not nice. It's like picking flowers, right? The dandelion needed that flower. It's not going to kill the plant, but you know. So yeah, if you want to post in the comments where you're watching from, that's always neat for us to know. Especially if you're in another time zone.
17 minutes.
Oh, 17 minutes. All right, I got plenty of time to kill. Here, I'm gonna walk down a bit. There's a big rock over here that I think I can look at, as well as I think I should be able to turn a few of these smaller rocks with one hand. Also checking out the water's edge for lots of shrimp, I'm noticing. I don't know that the camera is going to pick it up, but the shrimp have reflective eyes. Here, if we get really close, you should be able to see lots of these zoomy plankton guys here. There are so many little creatures. And this is proof of a very productive ecosystem here. So what we're seeing is lots and lots of amphipods and copepods. Different types of plankton. Some of these may be plankton for their entire lives. Some of them may be plankton for only a portion of their life and will mature into something bigger. But you can really see how many there are. They may also be attracted to my light. A lot of these creatures will spawn on a full moon, and so they kind of gather together in big groups, and so they may be attracted. Very similar to moths and the lights. Super cool. Let's see, there's a few other creatures here that are worth mentioning. Let's see if I can find a good one. We should get into the zone where there are some tube worms here. And I think I see one. Okay. So there's a couple different types of tube worms. Here's a live open anemone, one of those aggregating anemones. And then right next to it over here is this tube of a polychaete worm. And here's a few more of those worm tubes. Those are filter feeders. They will take advantage of the phytoplankton and the very, very tiniest of the plankton. This anemone is able to capture and eat these little swarming copepods and things like that. So they have these tentacles. Oh, look, you can actually see them capturing some as we speak. See how the tentacles kind of curl and reach down towards the center? That's the mouth. And then they'll digest everything in the center. They have a pretty basic digestion. And then once they've consumed and gotten all the nutrients out, and it's time for the waste to come out, it comes right back up the same hole. So I always tell kids when you're at the beach, maybe don't poke these guys super hard because you're poking them in their mouth, but you're also poking them in the butt. I'm convinced that's a fact that saved the lives of many, many of these creatures. And wow, we could really see the tide is going out just right in front of us. This anemone is going to be high and dry in just a moment. And then the tentacles will all fold inward, and the animal will just wait until the tide returns. Here in the Puget Sound, we have 2 high tides and 2 low tides every single day. And when the sun and the moon are aligned just right, it's going to add extra pull to that water, and we'll get more negative tides. So it'll be lower than usual, which is what we're going to experience tonight. How cool. You can see the mouth of that anemone opening wider in the center. So amazing to just watch this happen. So my toes were wet when we started looking at that anemone, and now they're dry. So this tide is pulling back slowly but surely, and look what I see under this rock. Oh, you guys, I'm so excited to show you this. All right, so there's a number of creatures here, but the one I'm most excited about is these mottled sea stars. So these are a species of star. They're pretty common here in the South Sound. I'll write these guys so that we can. Yeah, we got a couple of mottled sea stars here. Oh, and a red rock crab. There's a little juvenile crab down in here.
Crab?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. So his face end is this side.
Really?
So you can just barely see the little antenna.
Wow, he's buried.
Yeah, they're really good at it. This size, they're really vulnerable, so they kind of hide a lot.
So, I found a starfish, and it seemed like there was something wrong with it.
Oh yeah, I'll come take a look. Because they do have sea star wasting, which is pretty prevalent.
This guy. That was.
Oh yeah.
He was laying.
Yeah, so that's a leather star.
He was laying this direction.
Okay.
And I thought maybe he was flipped over.
Yeah, so this is their underside.
Oh, so I flipped him over. I need to flip him back over.
They can right themselves, but yeah, if you know where he is and you want to just whoop, he'll be happy about that. So there's so much life here. So we've got these mottled stars, and they come in different colors. We've got an orange one, we've got a bluish one, and then also on this rock are more of those barnacle-eating nudibranchs. And here's a white one. Like I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, I said sometimes they come in white. Well, here's a white one, and a brown 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 one. Wow, there's like 20 of them on this rock. When we come back, oh, and look at this tiny hermit crab. Oh, that is so tiny. No, it's going out. It's at a 0 foot tide right now, so it's got another 2 foot to go tonight.
Oh, no kidding.
The low tide's just after midnight.
Huh.
So we'll see even more stuff. Yeah, that's a tiny hermit crab in a very small shell. It's so small I can't even tell you what species it is. Maybe a hairy, but hard to see for sure. But yeah, we've got the mottled stars are always good to find, and they often will kind of hide together, whether they're aware of the presence of the others. Who knows? Maybe they just happen to like the same kind of rock. This one's a little bit big, so I'm actually gonna be really, really careful as I roll it back in place so that I don't crush these animals. I'm actually gonna move them out.
Get a picture. Oh, you're
Oh yeah,
moving them.
yeah, go for it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, gotta get it for the Instagram, right?
Well, yeah,
Something, gotta share. There's also lots of little short crabs in here.
it's crazy to me that that's a crab.
So
right there.
many, yeah.
They just bury themselves.
They
right
do.
in
They're
there.
really good at it. They're like little bulldozers. Until they're about maybe 5 inches across the back,
Wow.
they'll stay buried like that.
Wow.
Of course, coming out to feed and things like that. But yeah, during the low tide, they just kind of hunker down.
Wow.
And
That's
sit.
So cool. So cool.
So we'll be, as we put this back, careful not to, I'm going to actually use the rock to kind of prop it so that I don't crush that little one. And then we'll set our stars back. Now the sea stars, people always worry about them because they seem so fragile. These are some tough animals. They can stand being out of the water for many hours, although these aren't going to have too long, just a few hours before the tide returns, and they'll do just fine. Here's another another shore crab. I disturbed you. I'm sorry, friend. You can go back to your home now. But yeah, that's a good sign to start seeing sea stars. It means there's some here, and we'll probably see more as the tide goes even lower. But I was going to come check out this big rock over here. Big rocks are almost always glacial erratics, which are rocks that were brought here by the glaciers, pushed down from as far as Canada, and then just left on the beaches when the glaciers receded. And they are such permanent structures that usually you can find some pretty cool life here. Oh, speaking of, get a nice hermit crab here. This one's a bit bigger than the one we saw earlier and a different species. So you can see how that pincher is able to really block their shell. And if I sit here patiently, I'm betting this animal will come right out. They use the snail shell. This is the same species of snail, a frilled dogwinkle. And this time of year, the dogwinkles are getting ready to lay their eggs. And so we might find big, large mating aggregations of them, where they all come together. So we'll take a peek and see if we can see some. They'll be at a slightly lower tidal height. So this one has a very big shell, and so this one can go all the way inside there. And he's feeling a little bit shy, so we'll set him down here. So more of those anemones, quite a few on the big rock. Some larger species of barnacles. These are called thatched barnacles. Lots of them. Let's see. Oh wow, up in the area of the rock that forms a little bit of a natural puddle, there are bigger anemones, and they're looking very puddle-like right now. But you can see they're really pretty pink tentacles and gorgeous green column. They almost look neon. I love these animals, they're so pretty. And they can, you can touch them if you're gentle. With a wet finger, they respond to being touched by pulling in and closing up. And that's not really so much a protection because they don't really have any means of protection. They are soft through and through. It's more because they think they caught something and are trying to eat it. And you can feel their little tentacles stinging you. It feels a bit like tape on your fingers, which is weird, but cool. Let's see. Again, if you're just tuning in, we are here at Narrows Beach Park on the Gig Harbor side. And it's nice and still, although the rain has picked up a little bit. So give me a second, I'll pop my hood on so I stay a little drier. The sea creatures don't mind though. They would prefer to be wet, although the rain, being freshwater, is not their ideal. They wish it would rain saltwater. Oh, there's a fish. Ooh, there's a handful of fish. Can you see? Oh, you guys probably can't see that. Bummer. There's a whole bunch, probably sand lance or candlefish is another name for them. I really couldn't even see the fish. I just saw their shadows a little bit. We'll go down a little further, see if we can see them. That's a species of forage fish, which is a really important species for, oh yeah, here we go. Can you see them, hopefully, maybe? Sorry for the unsteady camera work. I nearly fell off my rock. The things we do to capture a good moment. Oh well. You'll just have to trust me. There are fish out there, and they're cool. Yeah, we're just walking along. Tide's still got a ways to go out. A lot of these fish will kind of cluster up really close to shore because of those plankton that we were seeing earlier. That's what those fish are eating. Oh, there's a fish right over there. Come closer, fishy. Maybe he'll come over if we get... Oh, yeah, there's two. Hey there, little fish. Aren't you cute? Oh, we've also got some shrimp action here. This is a Krangen shrimp, a cool species that digs down. Here's another one. Oh, and both of these have parasites. So see on the right side of the carapace there, that little bulge, and this one's got one on the left side. Those are parasites. I think it's a copepod, a parasitic copepod that gets underneath the exoskeleton and then sucks the blood of the shrimp. They can live a long time with those parasites though. Parasites generally don't want to kill their hosts because then they're out of a meal. And they don't always have the ability to move from one organism to another. It's usually just kind of a one-time thing. So maybe we'll sit tight and see if we can get some more of those fish to come back. I think those were sand lance. It's very difficult to identify fish from the top when it's dark outside and they're not really doing much. So we'll see. Wow, the light really attracts these guys. So many plankton here will feed the anemone with the abundance of sea creatures here. All right, let's go. Ooh, even more of those fish. Those little ripples on the water are the fish. Oh, here's a different species of anemone. This one's called a moonglow anemone. And isn't it stunning? Look at that bright fluorescent coloration. And like a really pretty tangerine colored tentacles. Here's another one. So moonglow anemones tend to be down in the sand instead of on the rocks. Cool. There's so much life here. Too bad it's starting to rain. It's gonna mess up my vision a little bit. Come here, fishy fishies. Come on over. All right, another bigger rock. Looks like some glass trash here. A couple of, oh goodness, okay, this drives me crazy. It's just a leaf from a madrona tree. my brain got all excited because it's something that stands out. It doesn't belong here. It's not beach textured. So I get thrown off by that a lot. What are you gonna do? Yeah, there's a lot of fish just right off the edge. Maybe we can get one to come closer again. That was fun to see. See, there's not too many plankton, and then just give it a minute. They're really attracted to the light. Ooh, I heard a splash out there somewhere. This is a beach where it is totally common for us to see things like seals and sea lions going by. This narrow stretch of water is only about a mile across, and so a huge volume of water travels through here twice a day, every day, and so the currents can be really ripping. I'm gonna head back, check in with the team and see what they're seeing out there. Sorry, I can see things that you probably can't see, so I'm getting distracted. All right.
For all my lovely Montana friends.
All right, Montana friends.
We're Montana Mermaid. We'd like to wish you Happy New Year! Hi, friends. Welcome to 2021.
Woohoo!
Good luck. Hi, parents. I love you. I miss you. Okay, thanks. I'm gonna go science some more.
Okay, science. I found a couple of model stars, nice healthy ones. Jason saw I know, right? Jason saw a leather star. And then there's fish right here. I think sand lance. They're kind of just swarming just right off. Of course, they swim away when I get close. But they kept coming in. I'll show you the video tomorrow. You can see lots of shrimp. moonglow anemones. We're seeing it's
lot of
it's
good
very
stuff.
pretty out here.
I have to say, I just, right before this, put the final touches on our Peer into the Night January
Yes.
edition.
Oh yay!
And it's gonna be so good!
I'm so excited. We're changing
so-
things up for January, so you'll have to tune in on the first Saturday of the month. We'll be out with something fun for you.
So, I think we'll get that premiere post up very soon.
Yes, nice.
RSVP for that alert.
Sweet. Thank you, Stina.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another species of shrimp. This is, I think, a broken back shrimp. They have a
I
kind
have
of
a ruler in my pocket. Sorry.
a different
You
shape.
can remember where your model size are. We'll put that in the
Yeah, they're further that way under a bigger rock. Well, next to a big rock, because I had to put their rock back and I didn't want to smush them.
as you did.
Yeah,
Just visited.
yeah, I didn't want to. Harbor Wild watch, not Harbor Wild crush, you know? All right. Oh, there's a leather star. Hey there, leather star. Look at you. Love to see these guys. You can see their little tube feet. Leather stars got their name from their texture because they definitely feel like wet leather. But they have this kind of crazy color pattern on there, blues and reds and orangish. At the end of each arm is a little eye spot. So they can tell light and dark a little bit, but that's about it. And they don't have a brain to process that information, so I don't know how much a sea star can actually see. So yeah, that's weird. That warrants further study. Oh, there's more fish out here. Hey there, fishies. No, come back. I want to see you. It's where I need to channel my inner Disney princess and just will the fish to me. Come on over. Yeah, look, both of you guys. Come on by. Oh, it's totally working, you guys. There we go. There's a beautiful fish. Maybe if I sit still, they'll come over and eat all the plankton. My flashlight brings all the amphipods to the yard. That's a song, right? Okay, so I was talking about marine mammals that we see here. And we do see a ton of seals and sea lions primarily in the water. This is a great spot for viewing orcas if they're in the area. They'll hang out here. I have viewed them from this very beach, but they were all the way across on the other side. And I was like, oh, there's orcas over there. I'm excited, but they're very, very small and tiny in the background. But, oh, more fish. The other common animal that we see at this beach is river otters. Because of the kind of steep forested sides of the beach, that's perfect habitat for river otters. And they come down to the saltwater regularly to eat, or I guess to catch food. And they're doing really well here. And oftentimes you'll see them in family groups too, so you might see 4 or 5. Here's some more anemones, more pretty moonglow anemones. I think I might be able to flip a rock or two safely. It's always my concern when we're at the beach is I don't want to do anything that's going to hurt animals, and I have to hold my camera with one hand too. So when I'm going to flip a rock, I look for one that I can handle with one hand, 2 if I wasn't holding a camera, but something roughly the size of my head. And then I want to be able to see the edges of the rock, because if you can't really see, if it's wedged down in the sand, like this rock right here is smaller than my head, certainly, but it's wedged down in the sand, so there's not going to be much life underneath it. So this one is actually kind of a terrible rock to flip. We've got a nice little green shore crab and a couple of tiny green shore crabs, although
They're not green, of course. Look at those two. Oh, they're so cute. Makes you wonder if they're related with their little red crabs. But the chances of that happening are just astronomical because the larvae are planktonic. So here's a few more small crabs. So I'm gonna set this rock back, being careful not to smush those critters. Sometimes I set it back just a little bit off kilter from where it was when I rolled it, so nobody gets squashed. So here's another good rock. I can see all the way around and underneath it, and I'm gonna roll it back. Ooh, first of all, it's a cool rock. Pretty color. Then we've got more shore crabs. Another leaf, of course. Tiny, tiny crabs. Another anemone. So this one, you can tell that it's covered by the rock because this color isn't as green. That green is almost like a sunscreen that they build up as tolerance to the UV rays. Let's see what's over here. Oh, here's a little snail shell. And I'm wondering if it's a snail. Oh, it is a snail. Okay, I won't pull it off. Usually I can tell if it's a hermit crab if it's moving quickly. If it's not moving at all, it's probably a snail. Let's see, more big rocks. Big rocks are great for just looking at stuff. Ooh, speaking of stuff, here's a random thing. What are you? A gelatinous blob. So many things this could be. Don't automatically recognize it as a jelly. It's quite firm. It is a hunk of jelly. A piece of probably a moon jelly. It's no longer alive. It feels like Jell-O. So here are some anemones that get full sunshine. And so you can see the bright green color that they have. Pretty pink tentacles. Nice. So yeah, if you guys have questions, you can pop them into the comment section and I'll do my best to answer them. We're out at Narrows Beach Park on a rainy but relatively warm and calm night on New Year's Eve. Just looking to see what kind of cool creatures are out while the rest of the team is doing their beach monitoring survey, collecting scientific data that helps us study our environment here. We're looking at a piece of kelp here. We should start seeing a little bit more algae life as the tide goes lower. A lot of the algae right now, because our day length is so short, is kind of just sitting there waiting for the day length to increase and waiting for there to be more sunlight. A lot of the kind of annual types of algae might be just settling out now from their spores, and then they will grow throughout the rest of the spring and summer months and really peak about August or September, and then they'll die back again as we lose daylight. So we have a lot of productivity here in the Pacific Northwest, tons and tons of different seaweed species that live here, and all of that provides kind of the base of the food chain with the addition of plankton. So we have kind of two different food web structures kind of as our primary producers. We have the algae, both macro, and then we have the small microscopic algae, and then the plankton, the drifty stuff. So our team is doing a little bit more counting. Got another quadrat laid out now. There, I'm not sure if you guys can see, but there's a few brine flies just zooming around here. These are actually insects that come to the beach which are more rare. Most of the things we see at the beach are crustaceans, like this Krangen shrimp. Let's see if I can show you that animal. Come here. It's very hard to film and catch a shrimp at the same time. They're very kind of sneaky. So this is a Krangen shrimp. They're also called smooth bay shrimps. And this one's trying to burrow down into my hand. They have just the coolest pinchers in the front that are shaped like bulldozers, because they're sand dwellers, and their swimmerets on the back are pointed and more like walking legs so that they can get down into the sand. So I'm gonna set this guy back and we'll watch him just crawl around and find a spot to, oh, there's another one.
Are we doing the
There's so many shrimps, but look, he's looking for a sandy spot to dig down. Here's another one right next to him.
Oh yeah.
Dig in, trying to hide.
Every time I try to film in the water, the plankton swarms. What you find? Oh, look at you! What a beautiful chitin. So pretty.
Yeah.
Tell us how you know it's a woody
So
chitin.
this one, there's woody chitins, woody chitins, mossy chitins, hairy chitins, lime chitins, gumboot chitins. It's not big enough to be a gumboot, not even close.
Nope.
You can see the 8 shells pretty clearly, and this girdle doesn't have very big projections, so it's kind of smooth. And then I noticed how that girdle kind of edges in to the shell.
Yes.
So those are all really good defining characteristics of a woody chitin.
Okay, you know how
Kind of
I know it's a woody?
blue-greeny.
I know it's a woody because their back end has a little bloop
Oh
in their
my
girdle.
gosh. I love learning.
Now forever you're just gonna be like, where's the bloop?
So pretty.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, just like, I
Yeah,
don't know if you
they're
can just focus
gorgeous.
on the beautiful detail
Yeah.
of that shell.
So nice.
Gorgeous. And this one goes really well with the rock it's chosen.
Yes, no, very, very nice. And most of these chitins are just gonna hang out on their rock, like that's their whole life.
God damn.
That's what they do.
Get in narrows.
Yeah, get it.
Oh, the power. I like the connected by chitin. But yeah, we can hold it.
Make it look cute for the gram. Oh, I love it.
sometimes it be like that.
Oh, here's a cool algae. Okay, this is one that's not native to the Pacific Northwest. This is called sargassum weed, and it's really well adapted because it has these little tiny circles. Those are filled with air. They're called pneumatocysts, and they help keep the algae floating in the photic zone where it can capture sunlight to grow. And although it is not native here, it is used by some of our native species to spawn. They will lay their eggs on that algae. Oh, it's getting harder to see with the rain. Not only does it disrupt the surface, making it difficult for me to see, but it also adds a layer of fresh water to the top, which creates what's called a halocline, or basically a salt water, freshwater line. It makes it all kind of wibbly and hard to see. It's very difficult to snorkel in or dive in water where there's a lot of fresh water sitting on the top. So I've got more of our fish, which of course you can't see because of the rain. But the closer we get into these algae patches, the more fish there's going to be, because that's really good habitat for them. They can hide and be protected and then feed on the things that are eating the kelp. Got a whole ecosystem here, and everything seems to be connected to everything else, which is why we do some of the studies that we do. We're looking at biodiversity of this area and trying to figure out, is it healthy? Is it changing? How is it changing? Because all of that helps us to understand what's going on here and maybe what human impacts we're having. I know a study was just recently released that was research done on stormwater runoff and why it has such a disastrous effect on coho salmon. And what they found was it's an additive in our rubber tires that when it interacts with ozone in the atmosphere, it creates a very, very potent and poisonous chemical that kills the salmon. Well, if it kills animals as big as a salmon, what's it doing to all these little tiny things? And so by studying and asking questions, scientists can ask more questions and more questions. I don't think we'll ever run out of questions. I'm sorry. I apologize for the rain. I wish there was something I could do about it. But there's all kinds of cool stuff swimming away from me as I'm walking along the edges of the beach here. I wish I could point them out to you. You'll have to come out on the beach when you can. Not this beach because it's closed to the public. We've just got special permission to be out here, but there are other beaches you can access. Probably the easiest one to access for nighttime is Purdy Sandspit. And I saw people out at Purdy tonight while I was driving over. Let's see. Maybe we'll flip a few more rocks in this higher tidal height and then kind of wrap things up so I can go be helpful. Here we go. A few more of those green shore crabs. And they're so fast with their legs jointed on the sides of their body. They move sideways primarily. A few more. Looking out here. So with these species, they are safe to handle if they're about smaller than your thumb. They're safe because they can't really open their pinchers wide enough to get a hold of you. And they're pretty small, so it doesn't really hurt that much anyway. But this one is a male, and I can tell by that abdominal flap that you see down there, that little triangle. A female would be kind of bulging outward. They're a little bit more round, and then their tail flap, that little triangle piece on a female, is going to be much, much larger. So once again, I'm going to lay this rock slightly off kilter and give our crabs a chance to resettle underneath it. And then I always check my feet because quite often you'll turn a rock and the crabs will run to your boots, and then be careful when you set them back down again. So here's another, this one's a little bit larger rock, so you might, yeah, so the larger rocks are great because they don't move around quite so much, and so we've got a lot of these barnacle eating nudibranchs here. Not a lot of live barnacles here either. Maybe these guys have cleaned them out. But each one of these is a little slug. Wow, you can hear the fireworks in the distance. I always wonder what the wildlife thinks about that. Just randomly, a few days a year, the skies explode. Must be terrifying for them, but maybe not. Maybe they're just fine. All right, we'll turn that over. So here's another. This one's a male as well. I can tell it's a male just from those huge pinchers that you see there. Females' pinchers are much smaller. Right. Sorry about that. The raindrops on my screen are causing the focus to be a little distorted. So here's another sea star. This guy looks like he's had a bit of a rough go. Looks like maybe some desiccation on the top here where it's a little bit discolored. This is their more typical color. So it could be they're just a little bit too high in the intertidal zone, and they'll regenerate and be able to overcome that no problem. It could be the sea star wasting syndrome, although I'm not positive on that. It usually looks more, I don't know, fluffy, oozy. They kind of look more melted than this. But yeah, that is not looking his best. But hey, it's COVID times. I don't think any of us can say that we're looking our best these days. We'll give one a little break there. Alright. We'll check in by the water, see if we can't find any more of those fish. Ooh, there's a different kind of shrimp. I'm not sure what kind that is. Looks like a broken back shrimp. It's a very dark color, kind of greenish. Pretty. Oh, I thought that was a moon snail. It's just a rock. Shucks. A number of times I get fooled by rocks and things. More fish. I do think these are sand lance. Sand lance and other small forage fish, they get called candlefish quite often because their bodies are so high in oils that you can dry them and light them on fire. Oh, look, here we go. So there's a chitin, and just below it is a sculpin. This is a tide pool sculpin, I would guess, or maybe a fluffy sculpin. Hard to say exactly. Looks like another woody chitin, because I can see the bloop, the technical term for the little wibble on their rear end. But that fish is really pretty. And they generally have the stripes kind of trying to break up their body shape so they don't look like a fish. Compared to the sand lance, the candlefish, ooh, which are right here. Come here, buddy. They are generally darker on top and lighter on the bottom. Thank you for coming over to demonstrate this so perfectly for me. I appreciate it, little fish. So considerate. Oh, sculpin. Took the opportunity to jet. Said, all right, I'm out of here. Done. So yeah, let's see. I keep thinking I'm gonna wrap it up and then I get sucked into another cool creature. You guys are probably saying the same thing. All right, I'm gonna stop watching now. Another aggregating anemone, pretty one. This red algae right here is so gorgeous. It's got a couple different names, but I like red spaghetti. And look, there's a little snail on there. You can tell it's a snail and not a hermit because of that little antenna that you see waggling about. And there's actually a handful of snails on here. Oh, they're so tiny. Let's see if I can show you. This tiny snail. Look at that. Probably feeding on the algae here. I'll stick it back right there. There's a handful of them on this whole thing. Whoa, that was close. Don't mind me as I jump. Startled by fireworks. I thought it was midnight. Midnight was the new year, right? Couple more fish. All right, well, I think I will wrap it up because the rain is increasing a little bit, making it difficult. Wait, there's a crab. Okay, never mind. Oh, fish, hey, fish. This is a red rock crab juvenile. This one is one of the larger crabs that we'll see intertidally. They get about 6, 7, 8 inches across their carapace towards the back. Oh, there's another one. Oh, and a tide pool. Sculpin, where'd you go? Oh, you're so cute. You guys can't even see it when it's not moving. Hold on, I gotta try not to fall in. I'm perched on a rock, squatting over the water, trying to show you guys fish. Who knew that this was gonna be my job description? All right, I lost the fish. Okay, back to the crab. He'll show up. He'll move in a second and I'll be able to see. So this is a red rock crab. When they're juveniles, they're really mottled in coloration. Oh, there he goes. You can't see him, he's hiding. Little fish, come out. You're so cute. You look like a little tadpole. Love those guys. Okay. Oh, there he goes. You won't believe me with that little blob right in the middle there of the screen is a fish. Okay. Slow it up. I can get a little closer. That's a fish. Again, with that coloration, trying to break up their shape. You can see their big, kind of widest point is their head. And then there's 2 big pectoral fins on either side. And a little tiny tail body. Oh, and there's a shrimp. A different kind of shrimp. It looked like an eelgrass shrimp, maybe. Or maybe a Sitka shrimp. Hard to say. It moved too fast. Okay, but I mean it this time. I am going to wrap things up. Unless I find something cool right here. Oh, I did. Look at that. We've got plumose anemone. So we've seen the aggregating anemones and the moonglow anemones. Here's another plumose anemone. These ones are actually the longest anemones in the world. Their genus gets about 3 feet long, which is so cool. And they can be mostly orange or white or brown. These are just so pretty when they're underwater. When they're out of the water though, they look like balls of snot. Oh, here's a nice big one. See their plumose kind of texture there. And then we've got another chitin right here. This is, I think, a woody. It's kind of sandy. Give them a rinse so we can see. I think this is a woody chitin based on the texture of that girdle. And this is about their size. I don't see the bloop, but I know it should be there. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with us on New Year's Eve. Hopefully you're all staying safe and home with your families. And hopefully we'll be able to bring you some new programs in 2020. 2021, I mean. Gosh, that's gonna take a minute for me to get used to. Another crab. Oh, there's another shrimp too. See, life is everywhere. Can't wrap up your broadcast because there's too much stuff to check out. Like this Krangen shrimp just burying himself. Look at it. He's gonna tuck himself in with his antennas. He says, "What shrimp? I don't know what you're talking about." I love it. So if there's anything I hope you take away from 2020, it's that nature's amazing and deserves our support. Oh, there's a cool shrimp right there. That was a big one. Oh! I think something just tried to eat that shrimp. Because we just keep finding cool stuff. Like I mentioned earlier that the sargassum, that's what this plant is, or this algae, not a plant. But that is a place where animals will lay their eggs, and sure enough, we've got some Table sculpin eggs. Oh yeah, these are, I think, eelgrass shrimp. They have like a stripe down their back. There's lots of them. I think my light's kind of freaking them out a little bit. They're doing weird movement. Oh, there's a buried shrimp right next to it. Little Krangen. Love it. Alright, so I'm going to sign off though, for real this time. Thank you for watching with us. Thank you for tuning in. We are once again out at Narrows Beach Park doing a bit of beach monitoring with permission from Penn Met Parks. So we really are appreciative of all the work that they allow us to do in their beautiful parks. Appreciate the access. Oh, thanks Howard. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And I encourage you to share this video, donate if you can. Also go check out our YouTube channels and TikTok and all the other social media platforms. We're all over the place, and we'll be continuing to bring you guys some really great digital programming in 2021. So with that, Happy New Year, and we'll see you soon.